Hello my friends, so the most anticipated chapter in Dead by Daylight's history is almost here. I say almost because the update is still not live yet, but we can already test the new killer. And the new killer is Springtrap. Not gonna lie, he is not really fuckable, but to be fair, I'm not homosexual, so if you are a girl who finds Springtrap sexually attractive, leave me a comment down below. If you don't leave me a comment, then I will have to take the food away from those 3 black children in my basement. But anyway, if you are into Dead by Daylight and if you are excited for what's coming next into this game, then make sure to subscribe to this channel. Not gonna lie, I just finished gooning 2 naked Freddy Fazbear's pictures and I'm not really feeling good right now. Please tell me, do you think it's gay to do what I did? I mean, I can tell you from my experience that I'm not homosexual. A couple white guys smashed me and I honestly didn't enjoy it. But anyway, let's talk about Dead by Daylight. Why the fuck are we even talking about some gay shit, you fucking perverts? So the new killer Springtrap is already breaking Dead by Daylight in the best way possible. Believe it or no, but Five Nights at Freddy's has been the most requested chapter in Dead by Daylight's history. Yes, Friday the 13th might be the most requested chapter of all time, but out of all of the chapters we currently have in the game, there is no other chapter that has been as requested and as anticipated as FNAF. Believe it or no, but the Five Nights at Freddy's franchise has a huge fan base. Almost as huge as my penis. It's 6.5 inches, by the way, guys. And the reason why FNAF is so successful, it goes beyond video games. I mean, the movie was an insane success and the sequel is coming soon. But even when we talk about video games, Five Nights at Freddy's, it surprisingly has a very deep lore, and we have a bunch of FNAF lore enthusiasts that have been playing these games ever since they came out. I believe the first FNAF game came out in like 2014, and it's just funny how 2014 was like 11 years ago, right? And people are still saying that Five Nights at Freddy's fanbase is full of little children. Well, bro, 11 years ago, it might have been full of children, but nowadays, a lot of those children that used to play Five Nights at Freddy's video games, they are full grown-up adults. And just looking at the Mori animation alone, just look at this. It's gruesome as fuck. It shows that Dead by Daylight is not trying to target children. So I don't really see any problem in FNAF being in Dead by Daylight. In fact, I believe that this franchise fits Dead by Daylight perfectly. But it's just funny how I used to get a bunch of comments on my YouTube videos of a bunch of grown-up crybabies saying something like, "Oh, Five Nights at Freddy's is a video game for children. Don't add it to Dead by Daylight." Shut the fuck up, you fucking nugget, and respectfully suck my cock. But the point that I'm trying to make is that the fanbase of Five Nights at Freddy's is so big that as soon as the PTB came out, we hit 83,000 players all playing this game at the same time on Steam platform alone. Just for you to have an idea of how big this is, keep in mind that the public test build has just come out, meaning that you can't really play as Springtrap on the live servers yet. You can just test the new killer, and DBD has hit these player numbers on a regular day when people are working, you know what I mean? And typically at peak hours on the Steam platform, regular working day, Dead by Daylight would have around 50,000 players. So my question is, what will happen when FNAF comes into Dead by Daylight? I mean, will the servers crash, or do you think that the developers are ready for a bunch of new players giving DBD a try? Because believe it or no, even though Five Nights at Freddy's it's a gaming franchise, a bunch of these players that have grown up with the FNAF franchise, they have never even heard of Dead by Daylight. But obviously now Five Nights at Freddy's is actually making Dead by Daylight even more popular than ever before. So yeah, and I will admit that once I believed that Five Nights at Freddy's and Dead by Daylight collaboration is going to happen, never. I even made a video called Why FNAF Will Never Come to Dead by Daylight. I got to admit that this video is a total clickbait and I was wrong, but I got to tell you, I'm not a FNAF fanboy. I didn't grow up with Five Nights at Freddy's. In fact, I have only played the first Five Nights at Freddy's video game, but the movie has really made me interested in this franchise. It looks incredibly unique and I will definitely watch the sequel, probably in cinemas. Alright, let's move on to another topic. If you watch my channel regularly, you should know that I don't really make too many videos on Dead by Daylight's updates because I'm lazy, but sometimes I do. But I'm not gonna discuss the new perks, and the new map looks cool, but I'm not gonna talk about it too much as I'm not really familiar with this franchise. Let's talk about Springtrap and his power.
What the hell are these doors? What the fuck is this? What? What? How did she get there? Well, I don't even know what happened. I don't know how I got this hit, to be honest. Damn, this is cool. And now I can just... Yeah, the power is definitely very unique. When I heard that the new killer is going to have a throwable axe, I immediately expected him to be a clone of the Huntress, you know? But surprisingly, Springtrap is a beast on his own. Now, of course, there are some downsides of this killer, and I really tried to find a reason to make a video, "The new killer sucks," you know, for clickbait purposes. But honestly, the downsides that the new killer has, they are very minor. One of the things that I hate about Springtrap is that he is a slower killer. He is a 4.4 speed killer, and it really feels slow when you are walking, especially when you are chasing a survivor. I feel like I'm a fucking 85-year-old grandma. Now, one of the most interesting elements in his power is that after throwing his axe, Springtrap becomes faster. He basically becomes a regular speed killer. But obviously there's a catch, because if you throw the axe, you become an M1 killer. Now, I understand why the developers have done this. It's basically they wanted to reinforce some strategizing into Springtrap's power. For example, you might be chasing a survivor and you might want to throw that axe at the survivor. Imagine you miss, you don't hit the survivor, but as a compensation for the miss, you gain some extra speed and you become faster. Also, if the axe has been thrown and the survivor enters the range of that thrown axe, because it stays on the ground for a little bit of time if you don't reclaim your axe back, the survivor's location will be revealed to you for a couple seconds with the killer's instinct, so that's great, right? But hitting a survivor with the axe, just like you expect, the survivor gets injured, and surprisingly the survivor cannot heal unless that survivor gets that axe off their body. And yes, just like with the artist's crows, if the axe is on the body of a survivor, even if you are chasing a survivor, that survivor still can be running and at the same time trying to remove the effect. So it's not like you need to stop in the middle of the chase and mend, you know? Springtrap's power is so unique and so complicated that it's hard for me to even explain. You need to experience it for yourself right now. I mean, for example, one of the more interesting facts is that if the axe is on a survivor and you get close to that survivor, there will be a special animation of you grabbing that survivor. It looks incredibly cool. Also, there are a bunch of doors scattered all around the map, and you can teleport from one door to the other door. And from the survivor's perspective, if you enter one of these doors, you can also teleport from one door to the other door. It's not just the killer, but the survivors, they can see the cameras, they can see
every single location of the map basically is on the camera. And there are so many little caveats with that. I really fucking love this killer so far. And yeah, that's all I will say. I'm just enjoying it, and I'm gonna go back and enjoy it more. Subscribe for more Dead by Daylight videos. Comment what do you think of this chapter. See you later. Chapter 36, FNAF.